All right, guys, so in this training video, we're going to be going over from start to finish, one call closing an Age mortgage protection lead. So the entire process really only has about 7 parts to it, where number one is going to be your hook. That's when you first get them on the phone, you need to captivate their attention, so on and so forth. Number two is going to be setting the table and your intro. How you start the appointment is how you end it. So have a strong, structured intro. Number three, simply filling out the financial inventory. You know, we all have that sheet. We've all seen it. Just simply asking all the intentional questions on there. Number four is going to be building the why. And this is the most important part in the entire appointment process, where you're building the need, you're building the emotion, you're connecting with the client on a logical and emotional level. You're hearing them, you understand, you're on the same wavelength, and you really just establish painting that picture and establishing what that looks like. God forbid something happens, and you're pushing on those pain points in order to give them enough pain for them to make the decision and go through with the process. After that, five, simply just showing them options, figuring out what makes sense, what's comfortable, what's affordable, what gives them adequate coverage. Number six, filling out the application, filling out the e-app. We all know how to do that. And then lastly is tying it down. Tying it down, letting them know hey, I'm going to be your agent. If you have any questions, call me. I'll be more help than waiting on hold with the insurance carrier for an hour. When something happens, I'm going to be the one putting my foot on the insurance company's throats to make sure your family's paid out fast. And you're really just building the value in yourself and letting them know you're going to be there for them, whether it's next month, a year from now, or 3 years from now.
Hello?
John?
Yeah.
John, it's Jonah. Giving you a quick call here. I work with the brokerage, and we handle the mortgage protection for Chase. John, your file associated with your property over there on 123 Main Street just came across my desk and showing me here as incomplete. The only reason for that, John, is sometime around when you close with Chase, we sent you several things in the mail about the mortgage protection, right? Pays out the home if you're sick or pass away. And you actually did the right thing. You filled out the card and you mailed it back to us. But for some reason on our end, we haven't gotten that completed. I'm the manager here in the area, so just wanted to make sure we took care of you. Now, John, is it just you in the home, or do you have a significant other spouse there with you?
It's just me.
Okay, gotcha. All right, perfect, John. So grab a pen and paper. Should take about 10 minutes or so to get this knocked out.
All right, sounds good.
All right, guys. So when you first get the client on the phone, that's the hook. And the energy and the posture here is much different than when you're in the actual appointment. Where here it's, you're kind of concerned, you're confused, you're trying to figure out what the file is still pending. It's placed on my desk, we're doing an audit, and you're the underwriter getting back to them, so on and so forth. Once they grab a pen and paper, and once you're in the actual appointment process, you're much more laid back, you're much more blasé, smiling, do this 10 times a day, no big deal, I'm here to help and serve you. You want to be a little bit confused, because think about, why is that? Where these people are getting calls all day long. And if you're too mellow and too chill, they're going to smoke you. If you're too excited, too salesy, you sound like a telemarketer, they're definitely going to hang up on you. And if you're just a little bit kind of annoyed, a little bit confused slightly, and John, it's Jonah, we're doing an audit here in the office, and your file at 123 Main Street was flagged for review. And because the reason for that being is you want them to be like, oh, wow, look, this person calling me right now, this must be important. And now they're listening. And that's why. And then again, once you get into the appointment, you can take a step down, be more relaxed, show them you care. But when you first get them on the phone, act a little bit annoyed. All right, perfect. So John, is this your first time going through the mortgage protection process, or have you been through this process before?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So basically, it's pretty simple. I'm going to spend about 2 minutes asking you some health and some financial questions. And based on that job, it's my job as the medical underwriter to run it through all the carriers available in the state of Illinois that offer the mortgage protection. The reason for that is to figure out some various options you hopefully qualify for. Then, God willing, we're able to figure out some options you qualify for that make sense for you and your family financially. I'll simply present those various options to you, and from there, you let me know what's comfortable, what's affordable, and then it'll simply submit a request for coverage. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Perfect. So, John, when you go to buy a home, there's 3 types of insurance on the home. Number 1 is going to be the PMI insurance. This stands for Private Mortgage Insurance. So basically what it is, it's something the bank requires on their end if you put less than 20% down, but it does nothing for you and your family. Simply put in place to protect the bank. Second type is the homeowners insurance, which protects the physical property of the home, which I'm sure you're familiar with. So basically, if there's a flood, if there's a fire, the house burns down, anything happens to the physical property, your home is covered, John. And the third and most important type of protection is the mortgage protection, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So what this covers is basically covers if you become sick, disabled, pass away, it ensures that you and your family are able to stay in the home and that home's protected and taken care of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, John. So mortgage protection isn't something you can just sign up for anytime, like life insurance. It is something you do actually have to qualify for. So once we go to submit a request for coverage, there are 3 pieces of information required on the app, just like any other insurance application. So number 1, it's going to be your driver's license to confirm your identity. Do you have that on hand?
Yeah.
Perfect. Secondly, John, is your social. So that's how they're going to check your prescriptions and your medical history. The main factor on if you are approved or declined. And then thirdly, John, either a bank statement or a voided check to confirm there's no prior insurance fraud, money laundering, or anything else illegal linked to your account. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, guys, so the part we just watched was the intro. And the intro is one of the most important pieces of the appointment process because how we start it is how we end it. So making sure we have a strong, structured intro and letting you know exactly what's going to happen, what's required, what your job is critical. And obviously, we train on rebuttals. We know how to overcome rebuttals. But for me, I like the path of least resistance, where I would rather acknowledge the rebuttal before I get it. So by the time we get to the end, I don't even have to worry about getting the rebuttal. So you want to say it before they say it. And that's why the intro is so important, because we're simply acknowledging all those rebuttals. So when we get to the end, we're much, much, much more likely to just have a smooth transition, a smooth close, than it be a battle. All right, perfect, John. Looks like I have your date of birth here is 6/2/79.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then that would make you about 44 years young.
Yes.
Sounds good. And then are you a smoker or non-smoker?
Non-smoker.
Gotcha. Alrighty. And what are you doing for work, John?
Construction.
All right, perfect. Construction. Alrighty. And then how much do you say your monthly income is? Give me like a low-end ballpark figure.
About 4,000.
Gotcha. About 4,000 a month. Perfect. All right, and then any existing life insurance policies, anything like that?
Yes, I have one through work.
Just through your work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. And John, so the work coverage is great when you're employed, and obviously take full advantage of it. But as you're aware, it's like a work car, and if you become, sick, disabled, you lose your job, you switch jobs, you retire, anything happens, you lose the work insurance as well. So typically with our clients, they have the work insurance in addition to the mortgage protection because obviously these are private bills. So it's simply meant to be supplemented with private insurance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, perfect. All right, John. And then looking at this here, and it looks like you owe about 180 on the mortgage.
Correct.
How long you been there?
I recently moved in.
Gotcha. Sounds good. And then how much are those mortgage payments?
1,300 a month.
1,300.
Yes, correct.
Perfect. And then 30 year?
Yeah, that's correct.
Sounds good. Alrighty, John. And then a bunch of health questions for you. Interrupt me if any of these apply to you. Any history of heart attack, stroke, CHF, defibrillator, stents, TIA, angina, bypass, pacemaker, heart valve disorder, cancer, anxiety, depression, diabetes, neuropathy, diabetic coma, insulin shock, asthma, COPD, sleep apnea, liver disease, kidney disease, confined to a wheelchair, dementia, ALS, organ transplant, dialysis, terminal illness?
No.
Alrighty. Sounds good. What medications are you on?
So, lisinopril?
Lisinopril. And what do you take that for? The blood pressure?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Blood pressure. Okay. And John, how long have you been on the lisinopril for?
About 3 months ago. That's about when I closed, yeah.
What other medications are you on?
Uh, hydrochlorothiazide.
Hydrochlorothiazide.
That was for my thyroid.
Okay. Thyroid. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Nothing? Okay, gotcha. How about medications that maybe you're prescribed that you're not currently taking? Anything along those lines?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Okay. All right, John. And then going back, medications in the past 5-10 years
No.
that you were prescribed, even if you never took it.
No.
Alrighty. And then you said you were putting your daughter Cynthia as the beneficiary for this?
Correct. I want the house to go to Cynthia.
Gotcha. And you said she's living with you, correct?
And yes, she lives with me.
All right. Gotcha. So Cynthia is your daughter living with you. Okay, perfect. And then, John, how old is Cynthia?
She just turned 18.
Okay, just turned 18?
Yes.
Gotcha. And then any DUIs, any felonies, anything like that on the criminal background?
No.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right, guys. So now we're in building the why. And the why is the most important part in the entire appointment process, where here you really want to slow it down and show the client you care. You have to show the client you care. Verbal pacing is everything in the entire appointment, but it's especially important when you're building the why. What I do, and you'll hear me in this mock presentation, but you're basically just, again, slowing it down. And you're simply like, all right, John and Mary, so, before we go any further, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what the situation is looking like here is I'm assuming you just want to make sure that, God forbid something happens to you, the home is taken care of and paid off for Mary. Would that be a fair assumption? And see, because keep in mind like the energy there, where I'm like, all right, guys, before we go any further, I'm here to help and serve you. I'm here to help them and provide value for them. And then I'm simply using words like what it's looking like here. Because keep in mind, I don't say what I see. I don't say what it looks like to me, because then it's me versus them. And you get that pushback where I'm on their side. And the problem and the enemy is what happens to their family when something happens to John, or whatever the case may be. So I'm third partying it, like what it's looking like here. Thirdly, correct me if I'm wrong, because if I am wrong, I want them to tell me, because we're simply figuring that out together. We're going on that roller coaster ride to paint that vivid picture of what that looks like and build enough pain for them to see the value and put some protection in place for their family. And then lastly, using words like, would that be a fair assumption? To get them to buy in. If I came into the why and I was like, so John, I'm assuming you want to make sure that, God forbid something happens, the home's taken care of for Mary, right? You're like, I sound like an a-hole. Versus, slowing it down, again, having that empathy, that concern, that care in your voice, and using track words like, correct me if I'm wrong, what it's looking like here, would that be a fair assumption, is really going to allow you to connect on a deeper level with the client and allow you to help put protection in place for their family. Alrighty. John, before we go any further, I'm obviously here to, to help and serve you and figure out some sort of protection for this home and for your life. So I'm looking at the situation here, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, but I'm assuming the main reason that you had submitted the request to our office and took the call today is you simply want to make sure that, God forbid, when something does happen to you, that the home is taken care of and goes to your daughter Cynthia.
Yeah, that's correct.
And also, John, I'm assuming as well, since you are, in your 40s, you're relatively in good condition, and you're working a physically demanding job, I'm assuming not only covering Cynthia, but also covering both of you guys and yourself. So not only protecting you on the death side, but also the living side as well. So God forbid, John, if if you were to become sick or disabled, cancer, heart attack, stroke, disability, essentially I'm assuming any other sort of critical, terminal, or chronic illness that you simply just want to make sure that your mortgage is taken care of and covered in that aspect as well. Would that be a fair assumption?
Yeah, that's correct.
Understood. So putting that in a hypothetical situation, so 1 in 3 people get cancer at some point in their life. So between the two of us on this call, flip a coin, God forbid, one of us is going to have cancer. And in 2023, John, the average cancer treatment ranges anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000 in medical bills.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, God forbid, you were diagnosed with cancer. So A, you're unable to work. So now the income is stopped. You have no income coming in. On top of you're looking at $150,000 in medical bills because you're going through treatment. God forbid that were to happen. What would that, look like financially for you and Cynthia? You guys would probably lose the home.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Is that the main reason why you guys, you were looking to hopefully get approved and apply for coverage today?
Yes.
Okay. Understood, John. I'll see what I can do for you here. So, home, taken care of and paid off in the event of death, disability, or critical illness. Okay. Gotcha. All right, John. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run this through a few of our companies. I'm going to get some numbers together. So I'm going to place you in a brief hold. Give me about 2 minutes, and then we'll be able to figure out some options.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, John, you still with me?
Of course.
Perfect. Appreciate your patience. So grab a pen and paper for me. I'm going to give you 3 options. Out of these 3 options, what I want you to do is simply let me know what's comfortable, what's practical and affordable for you. And then from there, we're going to submit a request for coverage. Let me know when you're ready to write down those 3 options.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, John. So the first option we're looking at is going to be covering the mortgage plus 1 year salary. So if you write that down, mortgage plus 1 year's salary. Perfect. And that's going to be a $228,000 face amount. And John, if you were to get approved, it looks like that would be $180 a month. All right, that's the first option. So let me know when you got that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. And then John, the second option of what we're looking at is going to be covering the mortgage. It's going to be $180,000 face amount. And if you were to get approved for that, that'd be $130 a month. Let me know when you get that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third option is going to be covering half the mortgage. So that's going to be a face amount of $90,000. And if you were to get approved, looks like that would be $89 a month for you. All right, John. So out of these 3 options, like I said, if you were to qualify, what makes the most sense to you?
Oh, Jonah, I think I want to go with the middle one that covers that full mortgage.
Gotcha. Apply for the middle one.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, John. So grab your driver's license for me. I'll see if we can get you approved. All right, now we're in the last part, the home stretch of the sale. After you've gotten the client approved, tying down the sale. And it's especially important to make sure that you're thorough, you don't rush through it, you don't rush to get the client off the phone, oh, I got him approved, and then, no, don't be that agent, because I can't tell you how many times you guys are going to run into this, where your call person, and they're like, yeah, we signed up for some coverage, we gave somebody all our information, we never heard anything again from them. and we never got anything in the mail, and I don't know what we have, and it's a disaster, and then the bank charges $180, and we put a stop payment on it. Don't be that agent. After you're done with the e-app, you get the client approved. You simply just, it's important, and you'll see in this mock presentation where, have them write everything down, let them know you're going to be their agent, let them know, again, you're building value in yourself, let them know you're their person, and so on and so forth. So, again, it's very easy to rush through it. When you get them approved, I don't want to mess up the sale. Great, I got another appointment, but love the ones you're with, tie it down, provide value in yourself, make sure the client understands everything, they have everything written down, and then close it out. Alrighty, John, just wrapping up here. Do you still have that pen and paper handy?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you write down the details of what we're applying for today and the coverage. That way just so there's simply no confusion. And then I'll also text you over the details of coverage as well after this call. So if you could circle or write down that middle option, what we wrote out. So we're applying for the full mortgage coverage, which is going to be $180,000 face amount. Yep, and that'll be that $130 a month for you, John. Yep, and that's going to be on the 15th of the month. Let's write down $130 a month, 15th of the month. And the company we're applying with is going to be Americo Insurance. Yep, they're A-rated, been around for well over 100 years, one of our best carriers. And then, John, I texted you my digital business card at the beginning of this call, but I'm just going to have you write down my number as well, just so you have it. So my name's Jonah, like Jonah and the whale. Yep, Jonah. And then my number is going to be 605 123 456. Yep, perfect. And then make sure you have me saved in your phone as well. You should save me in there. Most of my clients save me in there as Jonah Insurance Guy, whatever works best for you. Awesome. And then, John, what I want you to do is also, once you have my contacts saved, forward that to Cynthia right away. Make sure she's got my number saved in her phone as well. And make sure she knows who to get a hold of. Because God forbid when something does happen, I'm going to be the one putting my foot on the insurance company's throats to make sure that your daughter's taken care of and you guys are paid out fast.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect, John. And then you're also going to be getting the policy in the mail in the next about 7 to 10 business days. So if you don't get that, make sure you give me a shout. We'll get another one mailed out to you. But look out for that in the next week or so. And then lastly, John, I'm going to have you write down a security code. Let me know when you're ready for that code.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So that security code is going to be JL2520. So, John, that's actually my initials and the last 4 of my license number. The reason the office makes us give out that code is because there's a lot of scams going on lately. AI, artificial intelligence is getting crazy. So, John, if anybody gives you a call, either claiming to be from our office or claiming to be myself or from the insurance company, and they do not have this code, they're trying to either scam you or get information. And what I want you to do is simply hang up and block their number.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. If you do ever want to make any adjustments to coverage, either give me a call or shoot me a text, and we'll get that handled for you.
Thank you so much.
And John, one more thing. Before we wrap up this call, I want you to make me a promise.
Yes.
Okay, can you do that? Okay. John, because typically what happens is, life gets crazy, or, bills get tight, or finances come up, and, things happen. But I want you to make me a promise, John, because we both agreed that this is the most important thing that you could have in place. And we obviously put this in place for your daughter, Cynthia. So if this ever becomes too expensive, John, what I want you to do is simply promise me that you're going to give me a call, and what we can do is, instead of canceling the policy, we can always drop this to as low as we need to go. Because I think we can both agree that having some coverage is better than nothing. And like you told me, John, I know the most important thing to you is just making sure that your daughter's protected. God forbid when something happens to you on the worst day of your life.
Yes.
All right, gotcha, John. And then also, I'm going to be giving you a call a year from now, basically to re-explain your benefits, re-explain the policy, check in on you. In the meantime, like I said before, if you simply need anything else, either give me a call or shoot me a text.
All right. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, John. Well, before we wrap up here, any questions, any concerns or anything else?
No, sir, I don't have any questions. You were very helpful.
Alrighty, sounds good. All right, well, it was a pleasure, meeting and helping and serving you, John. And you have a blessed rest of your evening.
You have a blessed evening.
Alrighty.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir.